Hey loves, and welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick around and join the family. Come check out these fresh homemade biscuits that I am about to show you how to make. First, I measured out my ingredients, which was basically 1.5 cups of flour. You can use all-purpose flour, but actually I use self-rising flour. And then I had 5 teaspoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, I sifted it. Really, it didn't need sifting. I could have just put it in the bowl and just mixed it with a whisk. Yes, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but I had a salt grinder, so I just went in with just a little bit. This is about 10 turns around should be enough. Now, 2 notes, because I use self-rising flour, if you're using all-purpose flour, it's very important that you use 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That is going to be your agent to help your biscuits rise, okay? And what's really great about this recipe, you don't need any yeast. Like, I am so pumped, aren't you? So, with that dough, with the flour mixture, you want to add in your cold stick of butter. Yes, I use the entire stick of butter. Okay, using the grater, it's cool for, video purposes, but honestly, it's a cold stick of butter. It's not frozen. So really, you can just break it up. Okay. You can break it up and just squeeze your hands in it. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, this recipe still works out perfectly fine without it. I just use my KitchenAid mixer to help with the video purposes, okay? But if I'm just making this quickly for my family to get a few biscuits, yeah, I'm not pulling out this, okay? Break it up. See that? Like I showed you, the butter comes right off the grater, but you can just break it up in your hand. Look at that. It actually is really cute little shreds of butter. You can even take a butter knife and just slice thin pieces as well. Because what we're going to do is actually mix this together. Okay? You're going to take your hands and actually thoroughly combine the flour and the butter together until you basically get like coarse crumbles. Okay, here I was basically just showing you that I'm breaking up the rest of the butter and there's no need to use the grater, but make sure you're using clean hands if you don't have any gloves. And even then, I take that back, you have clean hands even when you're using gloves. Okay, this is life with Alli. Okay, we up in here using clean hands and clean gloves. We're all about that sanitation. Okay, y'all hear my daughter in the background? I'm asking her to be quiet, so she went into the living room having a little moment with herself. Okay. Now, after you've combined your coarse crumbles, which I'll have that mixed on the side. Here in a separate bowl, I'm combining my wet ingredients, which is basically 1 egg, and I'm just beating that just very lightly. You don't need to try to whip it as if like you're making a meringue, okay? And it goes. Now with this 1 slightly beaten egg, I did add in 1/2 cup of milk. You can use any milk you like. I had on hand some 1% low-fat milk. We don't actually buy regular milk. We are a family, we use almond milk. I had the milk on hand because of my lovely neighbor that brought us some products over to the house. But I know you can use almond milk in this because there are a lot of vegans out there. Yeah. And of course, if you're vegan and you wanted to use this biscuit recipe, you can substitute out the egg for flaxseed mixture. Okay, there you go. See, 1/2 cup. Okay, so then you always pour your wet to your dry. Okay, We're going to add the wet mixture of the egg and milk into the mixer. And you can see over there, I still got mine spinning. And this is on low speed. See, this is what your crumb mixture will basically develop into. Some parts are more chunkier than others. I actually had to go in with my hands. And you can see here, I'm just trying to make sure every bit is being crumbed together. Now this recipe is very quick. You can do it in just one sitting. There's no need to let anything sit out or to rise. The one part that got me, that took the longest, my lord, of course, is when it's time to knead the dough. It's actually a little fun. You get a little arm workout in, or a little wrist action. Okay. Here, I'm not adding in extra butter from the stick. This is still the same butter from the stick. And as I mentioned, here I'm going in with my hands, okay, to make sure it's thoroughly and well combined. I get all the flour off, okay? Because remember, we sifted together our flour and our baking soda. Some of you may use baking powder if you are using all-purpose flour. But since I had some self-rising flour in hand, I decided to use that. Okay. And yes, feel free to modify this. You can use buttermilk or whatnot. Add in some cheese into these biscuits. You know, flavor it up. Okay. Let's get that well combined. Now it's time to add in our wet mixture into the dry. I learned that way back in culinary school. They say wet to dry, wet to dry. But it does make sense. I mean, think about it. When you have a cup of coffee and if you add powder creamer to the coffee, it just kind of pops up. It's something like coming out of the water. But it's always best to have your like instant coffee or powdered creamers at the bottom of the cup and then pour the hot water on top of there. Or with your stevia, you can tell I use instant coffee a lot. We do have the like Keurig type setup, but sometimes, you know, I gotta put my stevia in there at the bottom, or I add some cocoa powder if I'm using one of the regular coffee pods. I make sure that's all thoroughly mixed at the bottom. Now look at this dough. Sorry, I'm just talking. Y'all know I love talking to y'all. Talk back. Write me. Send me a comment. You know, do you have a Keurig, or how do you like coffee? Do you even drink coffee? Do you drink coffee and you drink it like 4 times a day? I'm more of a 1 cup a day type of girl, and not even every day. If I do have coffee, it's 1 cup. But if it's during high baking season, oh yeah, more than likely 2 cups. But I have to have some real espresso because honestly, I can still go to sleep off of coffee. But that'll be a story for another day. Here, as you can see, the dough mixtures was well combined, okay? And with that dough, it's sticky. So before we get to kneading, I'm using 1.5 tablespoons of the same flour. My self-rising flour. I put it down on my little mat here, trying to be fancy. I could have just re-sanitized my counter because the KitchenAid mixer was there. I just grabbed one of my mats back that I received when I had the WW plan. Anyways, girl, let's get this dough onto this mat so we can get the kneading. The kneading process is a good about 10 to 15 minutes. I kneaded for 11 minutes. I timed myself just for the purpose of this video. But, I mean, do time yourself because if you're not used to doing it and you just think that you needed it long enough, you don't want to assume and then it's underneath it and then they don't rise properly and everything is not good. So the kneading, it's not just poking your fingers in it, okay? It's you're rolling the dough and folding it in, rolling the dough, folding it in, rolling the dough, folding it in. I had to speed this up for y'all because, I mean, literally, it was quite a bit. And you see it keeps falling. It's falling over a bit.
Oh, ow. What did I begin with? Oh, cool.
You'll see towards the end that by the time it was complete in the kneading process, like I said, I did 11 minutes. It didn't move as much, which is great. And this is actually where I felt like I kind of got more of a hang on it. It was pretty cool, just even with the one hand, but I was incorporating my fists and my knuckles. See, and this is where I like doing it the most. As the dough got tougher, I was able to just do like a quick hand motion roll. And I'm feeling like a pro at the dough. Feeling like a pro with the dough. Got the dough on the counter. Coming to the house and you're gonna go higher. Okay. Yo. Okay, I'm having too much fun with y'all right now. But can you really have too much fun in life? Enjoy, y'all. Enjoy. My corny jokes and all. Here it is time to pat this dough. Pat it, pat it, pat it. Make it flat. Now, really, I did not measure the thickness of my dough. Really, your biscuit should be like about 1 inch. You can even do 1.5 inch in depth. I have my glass over here, my freshly cleaned glass, and I dipped it in my same self-rising flour so it could be my cutter, because I don't have a biscuit cutter, but you don't need one if you got a glass or a mug, which I'm sure everyone does, possibly, unless you're living on a minimalist budget and you don't have one. I don't know. Some people just may have a water bottle, but do you, boo-boo? What I have here is my glass, and I cut out the biscuits so it works. Okay, and that's how thick mine are. So with this, like I said, you should have gotten like 6, but honestly, I came out with like 11. Okay, because I said they're not that thick, but they were thick enough. They were great. So I am taking them and placing them on my baking sheet, which was next to me. I started to rub part of the baking sheet with a little butter, but it's not needed. But who don't like to put extra butter on their biscuits? Okay, I do. So do it for flavor. Now, because I have some milk left over, which you want to keep some milk set to the side, okay? You want to definitely have at least a tablespoon worth of milk left over. All right, so baby girl was in the background having lots of fun. Okay, back to the video, you guys. So here, I just take that last bit of milk. You only need a tablespoon worth. I had way more than that because I had the whole little half of a pint. Perfectly fine. We don't drink it. But I added some garlic seasoning to it. Some garlic powder. Now, what really would have been great is adding garlic seasoning salt. Okay? So you're going to pop these babies into the oven at 425 degrees and bake for 8 to 10 minutes. I bake for a full 10 minutes till they come out golden brown. Look at that. And don't worry about those black spots. Don't come for me. Those black spots is nothing but the milk that was dripping. It dripped onto the tray when I was adding that garlic milk mixture. Now, like I said, having extra butter is great on hand. So with that being said, take some extra butter, okay? This is not what I mentioned. I said I had a whole stick that went into the mixture. Then you want to take maybe however much butter that you want. You can even make some. Yes, honey.
Yes, honey.
Work for the camera.
Oh, for the camera.
Now you know I gotta have a taste test. Thank you. That's nice. Nice thick little biscuit. Sound decent? Mmm. That's good. I can't really taste the garlic butter I put on there. But actually it wasn't even garlic butter, it was like garlic and milk powder. Milk powder. It was garlic and milk. But if I save the garlic and brush it on with the butter afterwards, of course, that would stick and it'll be so much better. Oh, thank you, Jesus, for this. I'm sorry, Lord. I went right in. Oh, God bless us in Jesus' name. Amen. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Yum. Mmm. Make these with some cheese. And then cheese biscuits or garlic butter. Bread. It's so good. I'm so glad I used the self-rising flour. It's better to have self-rising flour on deck when, I mean, what? Yeah, we don't have yeast. It's all good. Well, I can't say fully it'll substitute for every recipe, but most definitely. Now I'm going to have my family taste them. Okay, so I'm going to have my family taste the biscuit. Babe.
My biscuit.
Biscuit. And Grace. Okay, just bite into it. It's best just bite into it.
Biscuit.
Yummy? Thank you. Yeah. Good. Thank you very much. My pleasure. Okay. As always, thank you so much for watching. Peace and many blessings to you and yours. Love you guys.